Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Lan again, here with Light 360. So excited to come to you again today. It's been a very powerful week on Light 360. We have had the opportunity to listen already to the stories of two amazing individuals, one on Tuesday, one yesterday. Very powerful stories. And I was inspired. I hope you have been inspired too. Thanks to the feedback, thanks to the comments that I've received from those who, some of those who participated in those shows in the previous days. So I'm back again today. It's Light 360. I'm coming to you from Chicago. I'm sure I can see people joining in right now. I want to welcome you for joining the show. I will really appreciate it if you can let me know, if you choose to, where you are watching from. That's always great to see. I know people are going to be watching from different nations and different jurisdictions. So really excited about that. We're streaming now on Facebook, on two of my pages on Facebook, my official page and my personal page. So you're probably watching on one of them. We're also streaming on Twitter, Periscope, and my YouTube page and Instagram. So, well, it's great to see Mommy. Grandma is watching. Thank you from Chicago. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Pastor Olu, of course. Thank you for joining us too from Chicago. All right, so we're going to go right into it. The goal of the Light 360 broadcast is to allow people to tell their stories of what God is doing in their lives. So Light 360. So 360 degrees, actually. So lights everywhere. The goal of God is that His light will shine everywhere, in every sphere of influence. That has been God's passion, God's will, and it's a passion of mine also. It's a passion of mine. The core and the center of my ministry, my calling is to spread the light of God to the nations of the earth, to help people discover their purpose, find their potential, find their place in God, and in doing that, shine in every sphere of influence, bring glory to God, and then extend the kingdom of God, bring other people into the kingdom. So this show focuses on showcasing people who have discovered their purpose and they are shining as light in their spheres of influence. And in telling their stories, you will be inspired by what they share, and then you also can take from part of their stories and use it in your own life. The secrets of great people are in their stories. I love reading biographies. One of the I would say one of the most influential part of my development is the reading of stories and biographies. I used to do them a lot. You do it a lot. I still do it a lot right now. I love reading the stories of people. I just see something and that then inspires me and then gives birth to something, and it just continues and continues that way. So that's why this is a biographical show where you can listen to the stories of people unfiltered. They can be, we can be real. We can talk about what God is doing in our lives, and then you also have the opportunity to participate. So you can join us, from whichever medium that you are using to watch. You can post your comment. We're able to interact with some of them, and then we can put it into our conversation. So that's what the Light 360 is about. We have it Tuesdays to Fridays every week at 2 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. GMT. So put that in your schedule and join us. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to be bringing on our guest today. So this is somebody that I have known for 17 years, at least 17 years that I have known her. you know, in the world that we're in right now, for people to even be, you know, acquaintances or friends for 2 years is difficult. You know, but I'm blessed. You know, I'm just so thankful to God that, you know, in my life I have people that I have known for decades and, you know, years and years and years, and, you know, we met and God caused our paths to cross, and then we continue and continue and continue. A lot of things happen in a relationship over time and all that, but we just continue resiliently, continue to advance the kingdom of God together. So I met this person about 17 years ago, and we'll share about that when she comes on, about how we met and just what, you know, God has done over the years, you know, as things have progressed. But she's somebody who is a person of excellence. She's a person of excellence. She's very resilient. She's somebody who is in love with God, in love with family. She's a great mother, a great wife, and she's somebody that God has given some grace, you know, powerful grace, especially in the corporate and the business world. I've seen some things that have happened to her over the past few years, you know, over the years, you know, in the corporate world, and this can only be attested to. Can only be said, you know, it's the grace of God that, you know, that accomplished that. She has a passion to empower other people, especially women. She's a member of the City Light Church. She's a leading light. She's one of the dream team leads also at the City Light Church. So without wasting any more time, let me bring on today. We have Sheila Oshuntuyi joining us for Life 360. Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you so much, Pastor Land, for that very humbling introduction. I was looking for my cheerleading. Thank you so much, especially on an afternoon after a hard, long day. I'm so thankful for just your belief in me, and for anyone that has been a part of this series. Thank you for the opportunity, Pastor Land.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. This is our first public conversation in history.
In history, I like that. Yes, this is going into the books of records. Thank you. Yes.
So welcome. You're looking great. You know.
Wow.
It's
like you said, it's the grace of God.
Yes.
It really is. Yes.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Sheila?
Yeah. So with that question, I would say Sheila is a leader with purpose beyond self. Mm-hmm. That's what really crosses the theme of my personal and professional life. It's beyond myself, that purpose. Yeah. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, a very long time ago. I realized I'm almost 40 very soon. So inside joke. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, to two remarkable beings that God placed on this earth. And I'm very thankful for that, because I truly believe that your foundation from birth helps govern where your next opportunity lies. It gives you some sort of head start. If you have a foundation that is governed on Christian principles, core values from respect, kindness, hard work, just to name but a few, I believe that it helps in your adultly life. And so I'm very thankful for the two individuals that were chosen to bring me here. My dad, unfortunately, is late, but his legacy still lives on, and I'm always guided by a lot of those principles. I am a middle child, and I have the stereotype of a middle child, positive ones. I have an older brother and a younger sister. And so I spent majority of my life in Nairobi, Kenya until high school. And I transitioned to the United States. Actually, before that, no, I did transition to Cape Town, South Africa for pre-university.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. Wow. I finished high school a little earlier, transitioned to Cape Town, South Africa. I did a program that I guess would be equivalent to a pre-med program or pre-university here in the United States for 2 years. And it was excellent. you talked earlier about having networks of different people. And today, I still resonate with some of those that have also patronized some of the services that I'm working on and, hoping to explore in the future. So I do cherish that opportunity. So Cape Town, I transitioned to Illinois, and I did my undergrad. I got my first degree and double major, my MBA, really the traditional African child. I met my husband in college. My family and my friends joke that he didn't give me the opportunity to meet other friends. He was my second friend.
It was quick. He didn't want to, like, let me get out quickly.
I think so. Yes. And I'm thankful for that relationship. I saw that mommy is on, and today is her birthday.
Wow! Happy birthday, mommy!
I want to give her a shout out.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, mom! We appreciate and we love you. So in college, we met, and we've been married for 13 years, Pastor Lan, and we have 2 young leaders. Yeah, so that's really
my favorite thing, and it's one of my favorite teenagers, Darren.
Oh, Darren.
Yeah.
Thank you. And she really enjoyed the spicy nights when you had the youth on the program. So thank you for that. Yes. So that's my personal timeline and how I got here, and from there I pretty much again traditional path went straight to corporate, specifically in the project management discipline. Pastor, I worked in an array of fields in that discipline, from construction and architecture to finances and banking to the government, and up to now into the healthcare business sector, where I do have a leadership role. So it has been a good run. I will say that I attribute my seat right now to the grace of God, because I know that it wasn't easy.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk. Well, I wanted to ask you a question. I just, I went to Cape Town last year. That's it was a beautiful, one of the most cities, that I've been in. How did you find your time in there? Kenya is beautiful too,
Yes.
I love it.
You're right about Cape Town. I also, shared this with Kunle, my husband, that it's one place that I want to go back, even with the children, because it truly is one of the most cultured areas. I remember, Pastor Lan, the were so colorful. Of course, at that point, my goal was to just go to school, but the environment, I would maybe compare it to Cuba, the pictures I've seen. The culture also, very strong on culture. Languages, again, just a mix of enrichment. The food, I don't know how long you were there for and the tours that you did, but it's definitely a great country or city.
It's a great city. We had to do the Leading Lights training there. So
I remember. Yes, that was a fun adventure.
Awesome. So you are from Kenya. Wow.
Yes, I am. Proud Kenyan.
Proud Kenya. All the Kenyans that are watching, please give us a shout out if you are there. Support your home.
I know. Mkowapi, that means where are you watching?
Yes, we need to speak some Swahili,
I saw Lawrence trying to coach you on Italian.
So maybe you coach me on Swahili. I know Habari. I know I'm beginning to forget.
Habari, that's a good one. Hello.
Hello, yes.
Habari Mzuri is to say I'm good.
Yes, I know.
You can ask Pearl, because
you took the class that you did.
Yes, I did teach some of them, some Swahili, and she excelled and graduated. So
Yeah, I know Asante Sana.
yes, thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one for that? Is it Kwaheri? Or
Kwaheri,
bye?
goodbye.
Yeah, the bye. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying.
Good. I mean, I'm very impressed.
When I'm there, I catch a little bit more, but after some time, I forget everything. But
Yeah,
Swahili is a very beautiful language, and I think it's
yeah.
something that everybody should learn. I also discovered that there are some Yoruba words. I'm Yoruba,
Mm,
that are Swahili words.
really?
Yeah, even some Hausa words are from Swahili or very
Ah,
similar. You know,
okay.
yeah, I'm like, wow, these languages there must have been some intersection, somewhere along the line.
Yeah, yes. And that's not uncommon with many dialects. You hear someone speak, and even East Africa, so Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, uh,
Yeah.
there's similarities,
Yes, yes.
and so there's a lot of commonalities with dialects in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. And even America now, people say safari, they don't know that it's Swahili. I'm going on a safari. I'm doing,
Right. Or
yeah,
at Starbucks. Say,
yes.
would you like a chai?
Yeah.
That is tea.
They don't know that they're speaking Swahili. Yeah, it's a very powerful, powerful language. So growing up in Kenya and growing up with Christian parent, like you said, they taught
Mhm.
you. Tell me, what were some of the things they passed across to you? Some values that you
Yes.
got from your parents
Hmm.
and from your background that is helping you now in life.
Right. And I grew up primarily Methodist. And so, I remember, and by the way, at that time, I don't think I appreciated, I probably was even angry at just the many times we were at church, even on Saturday. So, some of the values, first of all, just loving the Lord,
Mhm.
and it was almost as if it wasn't even, there wasn't another option. Loving God, and ensuring that as simple as going to church was mandated. It wasn't an option to skip. Um,
Yeah.
so that in me grew. Just ensuring in whatever I do, even right now in my corporate career, where I have a team, and I need them to act accordingly, right? I need them to deliver on target, but I need them to be kind to each other, to love what they do. So that's one aspect that stays in me. I think even discipline, because I don't know if they do that here in the United States, where you get christened. In Nairobi, in Kenya, as Methodists, we got christened twice. So I remember, and it was called confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the discipline, and oh my goodness, we had to understand. First of all, we had to know all the books of the Bible, and then recite verses from each of the books. So that discipline in studying, in sitting down, in learning, and doing it again, when you are a teenager. So sometimes I wonder about those processes, because we were never, at least I wasn't necessarily excited about it. But then now when I think about that discipline, in my day to day, I'm able to tackle obstacles even that require maybe working overtime, or just reviewing things even more in detail. So the discipline aspect, and I think that's across the board, Pasalan, in Africa. With Africans, we're disciplined, and we need to find the answer, the solution. Settle for second best, or for almost. So that's one thing. I think about my dad so much, and you met him.
Yes, I'm going to talk about him.
Okay, yes. And I think about some of the things he always said, and they keep resonating in me, such as, don't give up, and there were simple things then, but even now I find myself telling myself that, even in the many roles that, like you shared, that I play, and this period with COVID, and the moms, most of us are at home with the children. We're trying to figure out balance, work, balance the kids and all that, but just not giving up, and staying consistent, trying to, just stay positive, whether it be in faith, but even in stamina. So I I thank him for that. And that was really part of my upbringing. And then Pastor Lan, I was an athlete.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you say,
Yes.
I didn't know you were in Cape Town. I didn't know you were an athlete. So tell us about it.
Wow. And I thought you knew me so much all these 17 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So, being an athlete, I just the competitive edge, and not just an athlete. I have medals. I had to show the children when we went to Kenya because they couldn't believe it. Track medals. I used to swim. And so that competitive edge also was something that I remember growing up. And I also joke about, I tell people, you'll never meet a Kenyan who cannot swim and swim.
Oh, wow.
Because the competitive, first of all, we off topic a little bit, but we had to learn how to swim at a very young age. It wasn't an option, and then add competition into that. I think that helps me today because I deal with, I know we'll talk about that. I'm in a role where I have to stay headstrong and compete with males in the same line as I, and people that don't necessarily look like me. So I think that was also that fostered that competitive angle.
Okay, awesome. So we met for the first time 17 years ago. It was 2003.
Yes.
So it was interesting. I had just written my first book then, which was on relationships, just before you say I do. And I was having a book reading at my house in the Plains. And then, I don't know who invited you, but I had some interactions then with some UIC students, Then I just came to the United States about 1 year then. So you came, and I told my wife after you left, I was like, did you see that polite, very polite girl? Sheila, you were so nice, and that's how you are, like polite and nice, and the way you talk with everybody, the way you talked with my wife and I, like please, and I'm like, wow, this is that girl. She's so polite. So where did you get that from?
That is definitely from, I would attribute that to my mom. My upbringing, just the cultured components, that aspect, having humility, kindness, respect, just always trying to ensure that you respect those around you, regardless of who they are. It's not even a hierarchy principle. Paslan, it's even difficult for me to call my boss, who's the VP, by his first name. The other day he said, Sheila, can you just call me Mr. D? I'll keep his name. I said, I'm sorry, Mr. I just can't do it. So I definitely got that from my mom. Yeah.
And your dad also has something like that. I wanted to share an experience. I was in Kenya for the first time then on missions, and I went with my friend, Pastor Israel Motayo from Nigeria. So we had been doing some things in Nairobi. So we had to go to Nakuru to do something, to speak to some pastors, and I was also distributing books, my position possibly then. So we went from Nairobi to Nakuru, beautiful journey, seeing all the animals and all that. So we did what we were supposed to do, ministered over there. It was a great time. Then on our way back, we went to a lake or a river where these flamingos are, forgotten, Lake Nakuru.
Lake Naivasha.
Yeah, so they're in that place. All these flamingos. So we played, we enjoyed, we had baboons, come on our car. We're just having fun. But what we didn't know was that the car that we were using had some problems. That it overeats after it eats for a while. So we started out back to Nairobi, and it was like a 2-hour journey or so. So as we started, we just found out that the car just started stopping. It would go to stop, it would go to stop, and it was getting dark. So we're just stopping. What do we do? Our phones were dying. Like, there were three of us, the driver and my friend and I. All the other phones had died. My own just had a little juice remaining. And then people were telling us that, wow, when it's dark in this place, that, it's going to be dangerous and all that, coming from America, this and that. So we were moving and moving. We stopped, tried to repair and everything. It didn't work. So great. And then I just thought about it that, wow, you know what? Sheila, thought about Sheila and Sheila's dad. In Nairobi. So I had his number. So I called his number and I was like, this is Sheila's pastor from Chicago. I'm in Kenya and this and that is happening and all that. So he calls me back and he talks and says, you know what? I'm going to come and pick you. So he drove all the way from Nairobi, met us somewhere on that road midway, put us in his car. We're cold and shivering and everything. Put us in his car, took us to a hotel, took us, bought food for us. We all ate together. Then he drove us to where we're staying and everything. I will never forget that. That was angelic. So yeah, I just wanted to say that he was a nice, wonderful. He told us a lot of stories, about himself, about your family and everything. And I met him, before then when he came to Chicago and all that. But I think that's part of what you took from him too. So
thank you for sharing that story, Pastor Lan. He was so excited to do it in the middle of the night and rescue and just
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you grew up in a Christian home, right? And all this stuff. But most people that grew up in Christian homes, they usually say that I actually met Christ personally at a particular time,
Yes.
At first it was just what your parents are telling you to do.
Yes.
You now have your own encounter with him. Tell me about your story, your spiritual evolution, how you met Christ and all that. Yeah.
Right. And you're right about that because, normally it's almost like a routine to go to church. I will say the day I gave my life to Christ was the day we were burying my father's twin brother, identical twin brother.
Wow.
The first time I saw my dad shed tears ever since I was a child. I was I believe about 14 or 15, 15 years. And I remember the exact moment. We had just buried my uncle. He was an exact replica of my dad. So they were twins, very close in every step of the way. My father, as tough as he was crying, was wailing. And I was just startled, Pastor Lan. I just, had never seen my dad that weak or that sad. I remember, and he was buried at my grandmother's home. I remember after everything was done, the cousins and everyone, we were all, eating, the traditional culture, just hanging around. And then I looked at his daughter, my uncle's daughter, one of the daughters, and we were talking, and I remember it vaguely, but we were talking about it, and I couldn't understand why in fact, I was more concerned about my dad's crying than my uncle. We were young, we were trying to figure out what happened, why it happened. And then, she introduced me to an auntie of mine, an auntie that I don't even remember, by the way. There's just so many relatives that come together during these types of events, whether it's a funeral or a wedding, and talked in our native language. And she told me, would you like to be saved? That I remember. And she said, if you get saved, you won't feel sad. You'll understand why Uncle Jeff died, and you'll feel better. And I said, yes, I want to be saved. And she prayed for me, and she was very religious. And I remember when I knelt down, she prayed with me, and I recited. Again, it was in our language. I recited some words, and I felt different. And that's when I realized that I had changed my spirit, maybe even not realizing what the benefits were. But at that moment, I felt a relief, a sigh, a belief that I'll understand what happened. God is now going to be my source in helping me understand death, in helping me understand that we can still be okay. So that was the moment, the day that my uncle was being buried. He had passed on, and
yeah, go ahead.
from there on, I carried that grace in me. I may have backslid, time, and what I mean by backsliding is, the principles that I knew I had to continue with. Maybe I didn't necessarily, I wasn't really as consistent in learning and reading my Bible.
Yeah.
It was an up and down period, but I knew I had already given my life to Christ at that point. And I know now, especially a more seasoned Christian, I'll use that term, that that once was the time. I didn't really have to redo it. I could renew, but in terms of giving my life to Christ, that was the period. But really where I really started practicing faith and really acting in alignment with God's grace and God's plan was when I went to UIC for my undergrad. And actually met Christiana Toyosi, who's
probably Toyosi was the one that invited you to that.
Yes, and she was the one that invited me to your book read. You also used to host
Impact.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was during that period that I and Sheila Johnson. Now, at that time she was Sheila
Modeling. Yeah.
Modeling now, but I'm gonna say Sheila Johnson because that was the period where we were now growing as friends and as Christians. So that was then when Pastor Lan, I really activated. I'm gonna use the word activated. That grace and started working in alignment with God's plan.
Awesome. Let me ask you this question. It's just so 17 years ago when we met, when you came for that, for the event. Also, when City Light started, you've been a part of City Light from around the very beginning and everything.
Yes.
And you've been a member since and all that. Why? What drew you? And what has kept you? What is it that?
I will say, first of all, that's a great question, Pastor Lan, because I think when I think about my journey and with church, sometimes you can get tired but I know that I still stay, or I still at least work to stay, right? If that makes sense. So what has kept me, first of all, has been the church is aligned with purpose. That aligns with who I consider myself. You asked me in the beginning, who are you? And I said, I consider myself a leader with purpose beyond self. Even when you have different themes or, different, in different quarters, different months, we have different themes. That consistent theme of purpose is still so prevalent. A lot of churches have different objectives, whether it be, in Kenya, most of them are about salvation and, and all that, and, different types of garment churches and so on. And I really believe that with City Light, the fact that we have this underlining thread that is sewn on purpose, regardless of the theme, regardless of the topic, it's relevant. It just works for me. I'm in a church where I know that I can contribute. The church can help me. It's aligned with my purpose. I'm not just going to church because it's what I need to do, where I need to take my children every Sunday. So the purpose field, Pastor Lan, and I think also the family aspect of City Light, the relationships, the core values of City Light. When you talk about leading lights, everyone is fulfilling a certain sphere, a certain field. So it's just like networking also. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. So let's talk about purpose. So, one of the things that happened over time also was that as you became a part of City Light, I remember you used to send me emails then, even at Impact, exchange you know,
Yeah.
then even before City Light started and everything. And then you came into City Light, and then there was leading lights training and just the whole mission of City Light. What was your journey of
Yes.
covering your own purpose? And then we're
Okay.
going to talk about that, what that purpose is and what you are doing with it.
Okay, perfect. Right. So one thing I will say, as I initially stated, in that timeline where I was growing, in corporate and growing, eventually becoming a corporate leader, I knew that, there was something beyond me that was missing, and I realized that even in my own personal life, I was always a helper, or people were always seeking me for something, whether, advice, career advice, mentorship, there was always, I mean, it was literally like something that was always on my calendar, maybe at the forefront of my head, in that I needed to also assist someone. It wasn't just myself. So even, when I was growing in the career or the corporate world, I still felt empty because it was almost growing just myself, or just for myself. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I don't want this message for everyone is different and everyone's purpose is different, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I was leading this path, but still feeling empty. And I realized when I joined Leading Lights 2014, I remember there was a Leading Lights training, and we had just finished an exercise that was talking about how to determine your purpose, in different areas. And the output of that exercise was to try to utilize the letters of your name.
Yes.
Determine your purpose. So we had already
to summarize it. Yeah, your purpose.
Yes, exactly. So then I was thinking, Pastor Lan, how is this even going to be possible? And it's funny because, Pastor Lan, you've successfully done that with everyone.
Even in other nations. It's amazing. You see, when I first started doing that,
yes,
people's purpose in their name, I thought it was fluke, right? It was like, okay, did it myself, did it with some people.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as we started expanding Leading Light to different nations, and thousands of people now have gone through it, I discovered that the same thing, everybody, their purpose can be put in their name. And sometimes it's just amazing. I still remember your own because your own was unique. Because she there, your name is Sheila. That she just seemed to me that this lady is about lifting up women,
Yes, exactly. And that's amazing. Kudos to you, Pastor Lan, that you've been able to do that for every graduate, everyone that has gone through this amazing program. So we were able to do that with my name. She, S was for she, H was helper, E was empowerer, I was improver, L was for lifestyle, and A was achievement. So a she, helper, improver for lifestyles and achievements. And honestly, at that moment, and I told you this, it was like a light bulb hits me. It was almost like, wow. I felt like I was defined in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. And I was getting more clarity because God had already, it was funny because I realized all the times where people were thinking of me, why, asking me questions. I didn't even consider myself seasoned, or I was considering myself emerging in certain industries. God was preparing me for learning to coach without necessarily getting some lucrative return. It was almost like He was preparing me for the future. If that makes sense, Pastor Lan. So that was then during Leading Lights, I truly discovered at least one of my key divine purposes in this world, and that is to empower women, in my specific scope, that is in corporate, in leading. And that is where I actually formulated Suit Herself 6 months ago.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Suit Herself in a moment. Working with you over the years. So there was a point in your life, I still remember very clearly when we were, you had so you finished school.
Yeah.
And there was like a gap between getting into the corporate world. It was like something was just blocking you.
Yes.
In there. I remember we'll meet together, my old house then, we prayed take communion, you know.
I remember that.
Yeah, for breakthrough in that area. So that's an area where God wanted to use you. But you were experiencing a blockage. Tell me about that time. How it felt, because I remember then you used to cry about that in those days.
I was very hard. And you know, Pastor Lan, the funny thing is that I had actually just got out of maternity leave. So I also felt that it was unfair. You know, I was now ready. You know, I'd had my first child, and this person promised me, you know, that I would be able to get back and just continue, because I considered myself growing already in corporate. And so, yes, I was so down, you know, even, you know, you're right. I cried. You know, I'm going to be very frank. We took communion. I couldn't understand. I said, what? I have the traits, you know, what is going on, Lord? Like, seriously, what is going on? And it's funny though, because during that period, the people that were still seeking my help were still seeking me. And if I was smart, I should have thought of this suit herself thing years ago to make some money. But so at that period, you know, it was really just belief, faith. You know, I really, my prayer life expanded beyond. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when we're at our lowest, we seek God even more.
Yeah.
But I did really, you know, I remember even, you know, 1 Corinthians 10:31, you know, in all things do things to the glory of the Lord. So everything I was doing, I was just, you know, doing it in God's glory, because I was like, Lord, please, I need you to give me a breakthrough. You know, what is going on? So it definitely taught me to stay faithful in grace. But at the same time, I was doing this mentoring. You know, it was very tough, Pastor Lan. And it's funny though, because the people that I was helping were considering, and when I say helping, Pastor Lan, as simple as, Sheila, can you please look at my resume? And I'm thinking, I don't even have a job. You don't know that, but you need me to help you. And so it was as if he was preparing me for now, when I think about that, because I was still staying true to the helping portion, the empowering portion, but I was not empowered on grace. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That was a really tough period, and it's part of who I am.
And then suddenly the door just opened, and then tell us what has been happening in the corporate world for you.
I'm telling you, you know, right after that, you know, just, you know, from it, honestly, it is favor, because, you know, even when I coach people, and I'm, you know, and I'll tell you what happened, but right now when I'm coaching about, you know, a simple thing such as branding yourself, I don't use the timeline that I was, you know, pushed in, you know, by the grace of God, because it's not something that is natural, in my opinion. So as far as my corporate career, you know, I really was, I thank God, because, and there's a question, or maybe that's just an there, right? So, you know, I was able to start in consulting, Pastor Lan, and with consultants, it's in corporate, especially in, you know, maybe not right now because of COVID and people are pivoting, but back then it was difficult to transition someone from a consultant to a full-time employee. I will tell you that for me, it took less than 6 months to transition from a consultant to a full-time employee. As a full-time employee, it took me about 8 months to climb 2 ladders. And again, you know, these are not, and remember, I'm coming from a period where there was a gap. So, you know, it's not something that people, and that's one thing, especially in my interview, one-on-one coaching, people always say, how can I close the gap? Because normally when there is a gap, it's almost a negative, right? And if you think about the timeline and coming from someone who has had a gap, it's not something that is natural, right? And so anyway, so that's pretty much, the vertical growth that occurred. And, you know, and I'm so thankful, because I'd already discovered my purpose. So I decided in parallel with anyone that meets me, anyone that is associated with me, whether it's professionally or personally, to aid them in something that they need assistance in, right? Even my team. In fact, at work, Pastor Lan, I feel sorry for them sometimes, because you know, we're developing plans for improvement, and it might not even be part of the job, you know. So That's pretty much my career path. And I'm also very thankful that God has aligned me with people that are Christians. It's not always the case. You know, the teams that I work with, my leadership, and the company I work for. And so from a corporate perspective, that was God's grace. It was not something that you get from an executive career coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for breaking bread with me and Pastor D. And I'm sure you were so tired of me. And
no. we just wanted that breakthrough too, you know.
You were tired of all the sessions and the.
Well, thank God. Really proud of you and all the like what you are doing. So God opened the door for you and began to bless you. But in your heart was you want to be a blessing. I remember there was something you said, was it at the beginning of this year at the retreat, you know? You know, I think if you can share that message that you just shared, and then we'll now talk about yourself.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, you know, it's funny though, because even at the retreat, which we have every year at church beginning, I didn't expect myself to be moved to even share that, to share that. I still felt empty, or at least that I wasn't living up to the purpose that had already been defined for me, right? And so that purpose being empowerment, you know, I felt like I was getting more in alignment with individualisticness, if that makes sense. And, you know, almost, and it's so funny because I now that I think about that, Pastor Lan, you know, even if I found favor, you know, from a corporate perspective into a leadership role, I realized that when I wasn't acting accordingly in that purpose, there were a lot of challenges also I had to deal with. So it was just like God was telling me, I've aligned you, but I need you to keep it up. You know, don't forget that it's beyond yourself. That's why I said a leader beyond self.
Yeah, that's very good. So I'm sure you know about Maslow's hierarchy of need and all that in psychology. Now, at the top of, you know, his first pyramid, right? It talked about you know, self-expression, basically significance, right? So everybody wants to be significant. So when we experience that kind of a breakthrough that you experience, right? You feel a measure of significance in life. I'm succeeding, I'm expressing myself and all that. But then there's another one, you know, that was just added to the revised one, that was revised later, which is what is called transcendence.
Okay.
So, transcendence is when transcendency is beyond significance, right? It's when the life you are now living is now making a meaning in the life of other people. In other words, you're not just significant, you know, because of what you have achieved for yourself.
Correct.
But now seeing that going into other people, and you are seeing them also achieving or being fulfilled.
Right.
That's, you know, one of the highest goals, one of the highest desires of everybody's heart, that we just don't want to be significant. We want to get to that level of transcendence. So when I look at myself right now and what I do, thank God I've achieved some level of success, you know, professional career, whatever, academic or anything, all that. But my greatest joy and pursuit is, you know, when I look at, you know, maybe you are sharing your story right now of how we met and other people like that too. That's my greatest joy, to just see that, you know, something that God has done in me is actually affecting other people and continue. So that's what you were going through. So continue.
You're right, Pastor Lan, and you say it very well. And so, yeah, I mean, pretty much that was it. And, you know, it's funny though, I kept consistent in prayer and, you know, just, you know, and sharing, because I really still did not understand how next. And then you think about it in 2020, then we have the pandemic, right? You know, we have all these key players in the economy, or, you know, even from a what else can I do perspective. You know, you have all these key players that are acting in opposite of, you know, flourishing. What I mean is, it's not the best time to start something. You know, we're trying to figure out how the economy is going to be. You know, where do I invest in? You know, what can I start? So all of these things were playing a big part of, or have been playing a big part of 2020 and continue. And, I still, receive that message from God, stay resilient and start something and formalize it,
Yeah.
and that's where the idea of Suit Herself, which became a business, came from. Came from purpose. It did not just come from a profitable angle. But there is that platform because I feel that I have earned the right to charge for my services after all these years.
Yep.
And so, yes, Suit Herself was birthed this year. And again, even in my postings on social media or in interactions, I say that this is beyond a business. This is a purpose. I don't necessarily use the word. I try to, first of all, Pastor Lan, we probably need to talk about this in another session. I try to play it safe when I use the word Christianity.
Yep.
I choose purpose.
Yeah, we teach it in Living Lights too, that when you are in certain spheres, you have to be covertly religious. For us in the church sphere, we are overtly religious, but be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So I tell people, when you want to sing, you don't necessarily have to put Jesus in all your song. Sing kingdom values. I say if you're writing a novel or you're writing a scientific whatever, focus on principles, kingdom principles. The sun will shine. The sun will always shine. And then when you make the impact, make sure that you always point to Jesus in your own life. That is God that helped me here. But you don't have to be to be very overtly religious, or you're going to close doors against yourself.
Correct. Well said, Pastor Lan. Yes. So Suit Herself was birthed, and I will put a plug in. It is a globally certified Ivy League. So I did go to school. Also this year in the middle of COVID, just to make sure that I was able to stay current with what was out there, not just experience. Globally certified leadership. Leadership is something that is very key. And career coaching agency in Chicago. However, the services are available globally. The approach that I use is an action-driven, proven approach. So there are tools that have worked in my experience and continue to work in others. I really want to ensure that those that follow through and get the services get something out of it. And the intent is career elevation. That is the intent of Suit Herself. Yeah. I had great reviews, Pastor Lan. If you go to my reviews page, I have 2 clients. One, just landed her dream job. She actually sent me a text.
What's the website?
Suit, SUIT, and the herself.com. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Continue talking. I will pull it up.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say that it is, I walk my talk. The reviews and the services speak for themselves, and I also have to screen you because I want to ensure that you're serious. I don't just want to you spend my time trying to bring out something out of you when you're not in it, because I require you to also have the same intent and the same drive. So the business consists of several things. There is the traditional one-on-one coaching, in different flavors based on budgets, as well as plans. I do have business plans. I do have a fun plan. It's a corporate lingo. Sometimes, Paslan, people don't even know how to communicate. When you go to happy hours and networking, like you said, having those relationships is so important. So, some people are burdened with communication and talking. So I have a communication plan, and so there's different flavors. There's different leadership and career coaching services that I provide. One of the other authentic pieces of Suit Herself is the webinars. The webinars have been so great, and there's no better time right now. Everyone is at home, having subject matter experts in different fields. One of the things that I thank God for was the fact that being in the seat that I am, I have the opportunity to engage with other leaders and people that are thriving in different fields. So it's almost been, like I said initially, Pastor Lan, it's almost been aligned. The corporate piece is almost aligned with this professional business. And so, having those come forward and provide perspectives, we have in America right now, there's not, especially for women of color, I'll just be upfront, services, that are affordable, where you can go and listen to someone that looks like you, that is thriving in their own sphere of influence. I've had women from Fortune 500 companies. I know I keep saying women, but it's also for me. I haven't posted it just yet, Pastor Lan, but my next webinar, and you are going to get 2 free tickets, Pastor Lan, for you.
Awesome.
My next webinar is going to include 2 corporate men, and we have a very interesting topic. So the webinars piece is also the authentic part, and it's the second part of Suit Herself. Okay.
All right. So I was showing your website, while you were talking. I'm sure people can see it. Excellently done. Excellently done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Pastor Lan.
So I see, I see those, the services that you listed there. Can you talk a little bit more about it? You talked about resume writing.
Yeah.
Just talk about your services again for people to.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So there's 2 resume services. There's the Resume 101 and for the 2 services, you are going to get a Suit Herself template, because a lot of people do not have the right resume. That is the biggest problem. You might have the skill set, but if you think about it, you have recruiters that are sifting through so many resumes. And if yours does not pop, with how much experience and value you could bring, you would not get selected. So Resume 101 is really an overhaul from scratch. First of all, in every service, I do a consultative meeting where we go over what your goals are. Most of the time it's open-ended, but I like to listen and understand, because everyone is different. It's going to be specific. Be a full write-up to give you a brand to kick things off. That's Resume 101. Again, using a Suit Herself template, which is also on sale on the website. However, when you choose the Resume 101 service, you get that as part of the package. The resume revamp is more so for seasoned professionals, because most of the time people have resumes, but they're not getting jobs or they're not getting advancements. So it's a revamp of your resume. So we do not start from scratch. We look at what you have. Again, the consultative meeting, which is more specific to you, gives me an idea of the challenges. Some person might say, Sheila, I really want to get into computer science, and I've been looking at these companies, and I'm not getting calls back. I've applied for this position. So me looking at their resume can tell me why they aren't getting the calls, right? In different ways, and so the resume rebranding is really more so for professionals, people that are already working, or are more seasoned in corporate. Interview prep is the most popular one, and interview prep is essentially, almost like a mock interview. First of all, I again screen you for,
Hold on one second, Sheila. I just want a programming note, a quick one. For those of you watching us on Instagram, we're going to be kicked off of Instagram in a moment. But we're going to be on Facebook, we're going to be on Twitter and YouTube. So you can just switch over and join us on facebook.com/PastorLan or facebook.com/PastorLan2. You can see us there. So we're going to lose you on Instagram soon, because we have limitation. 1 hour assigned for Instagram is over. Yeah. So go ahead.
Thank you for that, Pastor Lan. It's interesting. Instagram is so limiting sometimes.
Yeah.
And where I am more active, I need to pivot. So the tools that you see there, again, 3 different communication business. These are tools that are relevant in corporate. Some people might say, hey, I just want to understand how to build my communication skill set. Thing that people don't realize is talking will always be required, especially if you want to move up the ladder.
Yeah.
And don't have the confidence to do that. So the communication tool set, as an example, is something that will help you achieve that. Yep. So
and I see a book is coming out 2021.
Yes, I've been working on that. It's actually a book that is related to principles that my dad wrote in his during his doctorate.
Okay.
It's almost like an enhanced leadership book.
Okay.
Decided what the title is, but it's almost I want to also give him honor for his and I get so emotional, you know that. For his input into my life. So it's a build from his leadership principles. Yeah.
Awesome. Well done. Wow. I love the website.
Thank you, Pastor Lan.
The way you are pursuing it excellently. Well done. Really, really proud of you. Excellent. So everybody watching, please, if you want to, especially the women, but if you want to develop your career, you want to achieve, you want to be the best that you can be, here's somebody who has done it. Is trying to pass across what she has learned to people. So please reach out to her, suit-ourself.com, and also Suit Ourself on Instagram. You can reach out to her there. So let's skip forward a little bit. So now in this, try and cast a vision in 10 years, 20 years, and all that. What do you see the impact of your life being for the glory of God?
So it's funny that when I think of the future, I also think of Africa, Pastor. I have some clarity in location. I definitely want to raise, I'm going to use what you say, an army, but I want to raise an army of Suit Herself graduates. I want people to be empowered and, to share their story through my brand. I'm now in Chicago primarily, but I know that there is also a niche in Africa, in Kenya. Obviously, I'm from Kenya, so I see growth in that aspect. I'm also looking at, from a non-for-profit perspective, looking at getting into schools, especially when we talk about children before they graduate. It's, remember, I don't know if they still have them, but those career days, just having some sort of contract with CPS maybe. And
I have some ideas on how you can do that. I'll send it to you.
Okay, great, Pastor Lan. Right. So making it a part of the curriculum. That's part of my vision for the long term.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. So tell me a story of impact, like somebody who went through your program, or somebody,
yes,
what was the impact on them,
Right. Yep. And she, two people, but one I think is more relevant. She had been struggling with career. It was a day-to-day job. It was, just making ends meet. And Pastor Lan, my tagline is career over jobs, because again, it's about getting over that hump into actually getting a career. So this individual, and her review is on the website, was always struggling. And she was actually struggling in the area of communication. And the struggle was getting past the interview. Her resume is fine. There wasn't too much to change, but it was, coming across as a professional, and being okay with just the standard because of this roadblock. Sometimes we are programmed to think that, we're so used to doing something, and maybe that's it. Maybe not seek more. And so she was so programmed to just the most basic job way of life, if that makes sense. Meaning, working to make ends meet. Versus looking at, maybe I could actually pursue a career, or this could be something. So anyway, so I was very fortunate and humbled that she chose Suit Herself as she took a leap of faith. She's a Christian, born again, amazing woman. And I think, and one thing I love about Christians, especially from City Light, is we support each other. I'm new. I don't have, I'm not on times yet. So, she took a chance and she supported. And, I worked with her. She was diligent. She took the instructions. We had mock interviews. It was very difficult. When you put yourself out there, it's difficult for someone to critique you. To critique how you speak is not an easy thing. In fact, it's a vulnerable moment to put yourself for someone to grade you on how you present yourself. It's one of the vulnerable professions, Pastor Len. So she worked with me. I was able to guide her. I created a plan specific for her. She had an interview coming up. She passed the first interview, second, third. Again, she called me, texted me. I was also providing guidance outside of the scheduled Zoom meetings. Told her not to do these things, do these things, do not do these things. She took instruction, and that was the interview preparation package she chose, Pastor Lan. Anyway, long story short, we also worked on, her brand because, one of the things on the company website was she did not have the level of certification that was required. So she was vulnerable enough for me to say that, first of all, to actually receive that. And and work on branding her in the best light. So there's a lot of vulnerability involved in my profession. That's why I say, if you want to really get the best of Suit Herself services, you need to be open, transparent, and you need to want to also do this. I'm good at what I do, I will say that, but you also need to be open enough and to bring in the same intent. So long story short, we were able to rebrand her. So she's now a different woman, Paslan. In fact, when you to her, you know who she is. She sounds different. It's change, and she was able to get the job that she desired. She's now in her career. She negotiated salary, and guess what? That only took 3 weeks. And now she's working a corporate role. Yep, and I'm so proud. And she actually surpassed my expectations.
Awesome. So what advice will you give me if I want to rebrand myself?
Well, first we need a discussion without all of the live attendance so that I can really screen you.
You know me, so you know my brand, you know my Pastor Lamb brand. So
yes. I mean, one thing I will say, I love the forum that you've placed the series in. That already is magnificent. So kudos to you, Pastor Lan. There are no Facebook interruptions and so on. So you're already branding yourself in the right light. Yeah.
I'll talk to you some more on my brand.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to brand and get better. Awesome. Exactly. So tell me, looking over your life, where you are right now, 5 major principles that you live your life on, that you want to tell people that are watching, that these are the things I have learned about success, being a light for God. This principle, follow this, and this will help you.
Wow. Okay. Let me pick some. There are many. So let me see. I know a lot of people always talk about being authentic, but it's true. Just being true to your beliefs. Beliefs are not necessarily only Christian. The things that govern who you are, your image. For a long time, Pastor Lan, I was actually nervous about my accent at work. Working in an environment as I do, and so just being true to that and owning it and being authentic. So
just be yourself, your best self. Yeah.
Yes, you cannot not be yourself and expect to succeed. There'll be a time where things are going to fall. I will say another one, and these ones are really aligned with social emotional intelligence. Those principles that are that are soft skills. I will say, being empathetic and humble, humility is so important. I think that, and even if you look at leaders right now, the most respected leaders have a lot of humility and empathy for their people. Especially if you are growing to lead a team, you have to have a heart. You cannot just be, a hardcore person that does not recognize, how your employees are feeling, how they're doing, having a sense of concern. So empathy and humility. And that's something that I had to learn, because it's funny though, and I'll tell you this story offline, Pastor Lan, but I had to learn that. Humble is very important.
Yeah.
I think just being decisive and articulate is also another important thing that, in understanding, who you want to be. You, as much as you have to have a clear vision, and if you do not, you have to work to get it. You have to articulate, and you have to articulate that internally, and make sure you can articulate that. And that is important even in business. When you're trying to get a loan, you have to articulate what your service is going to provide. You cannot leave it open-ended. How many have I given you? I'm just thinking of the
That's
one.
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see. So yeah, authentic is one. I definitely humble, empathetic. You got to be articulate. Honestly, this one is fun. Is interesting. You might not understand it, but you have to love. You have to have fun. You have to live a little bit. You have to have fun and love what you do. And I'm not saying that every job is fun, but you have to find the goodness in it. That it's the goodness aspect, and I think that one is also very relevant for me, because having that notion and thinking goodness, can also help others that you work with, that you interact with. So you have to have some goodness, or have fun in what you do. You can't just be too serious.
Yeah.
And life is too short. I'll end at that. So have fun and have some goodness in you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me ask you this one last question. How do you have so many things on your plate?
Yeah.
Wife, mother, work, your business, all this stuff and all that. How do you balance things? How do you do all that? Yeah.
That's a good question. I will say that I don't think you can ever balance perfectly, right? I thank God that Kunle, and first of all, he and I are in very similar positions at work where we're so busy. I thank God that he is also a helper. It's important to have a partner that helps, especially now. And so I think for us, it's really goes back to, being clear and the expectations, even like right now, Pastor Lan, I had to tell him and the children, the expectations between this time and this time is for me to be in this environment. So kids need something. Can you help me manage that? So he's a helper. And I think even, just asking for God's grace, that I don't have the answer, Pastor Lan, but I know that I have a good support system, like mommy, who I don't know if she's still on, I have a great support system. And I thank God for that. Having a good support system when you need some time alone or away to work for yourself. So a partner that is helping, a good support system, and sometimes even when things don't work out, it's okay, and I just try to think positive every day. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Is there any other thing that you would like to say to those who are watching? Last words?
No, I think I'm first of all, again, Paslan, thank you for the opportunity, and this has been fun for me. And I'm always looking to see how I can support and help any initiative. I think that what you're doing is very powerful, and just having your alumni go through this process is a blessing. So I hope that those that have tuned in have been blessed in one way or another, and I look forward to coming back if the opportunity arises again.
Definitely, you'll come back. We'll talk more as the business develops, as things are developed. We will definitely bring you back. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for sharing your story authentically. Thank you for opening up. You know, I believe that people who are watching, they've connected with one part or the other of your story, and it's inspiring them to go ahead and also advance in their own purpose. So for those of you watching, if you need help in your career path, if you need you need some of these things that she talked about, please reach out to Sheila to suit herself. Your contact is, let me try and type it in there. It's suit herself. That's on Instagram, right?
Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook too.
Yes, the same thing, right?
Yes, the same.
Herself. So everybody, just check it out, everyone. So suit herself. If I didn't mess up the spelling of the suit, is it correct? Is the you?
It's correct. Yep.
Okay.
It's correct. Yes, you got it. Suit herself. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So reach out to her on Instagram, on Facebook, and all that. She will help you. She will assist you. She's good, and you will enjoy it. So somebody said they will be calling. Very good.
Thank you, Logan Brown.
Yes.
Thank you.
So please reach out to her.
Okay.
Well, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate your presence, and it's been a great discussion. If you can just appreciate Sheila, say thank you to her, everyone watching different media. That'll be great. That will encourage her. We appreciate you all for joining us. So we're going to be signing off now. We have one more person coming up tomorrow that will be sharing with us. Looking forward to that conversation too. But it's been a very, very powerful week. With the various people that have come on today. You know, we focused this week on business and wealth, and we started with Lawrence, who spoke to us about real estate and all that. Then we had Michelle, who spoke to us also about our business, about consulting, about the thing that we did. And then we have Sheila. Sheila added to it. And then tomorrow we're going to be having another person. I will not, well, you guys can see it in the flyer. Betsy will be on tomorrow, who is also going to be sharing. She's an engineer, and she's a light in the corporate world too. And she's using that to make a lot of impact. She's originally from India, but she was also somebody that I met her at the beginning of City Light. She was one of the founding members of City Lights too, and we've been in touch, since for many years now, over 15 years now. So she's going to come and share her own story. We're looking forward to hearing from her. So Sheila, thank you so much, and thank you everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Lan.
Yeah, we will sign up right now. We will see you guys later.